Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. Welcome back to another match preview. These are getting harder and harder to do. Manchester United at home to Newcastle. And United are in desperate form. Absolutely desperate form. And to be honest with you, I'm going into this game with absolutely no confidence whatsoever. It's a really, really poor run of form from Manchester United. And we need to turn things around. And we need to turn them around quickly. However, the opposition over the next couple of weeks are going to get more and more difficult. We've got a couple of talking points to get into, guys. We've got key players missing. Are we in a relegation battle? We're going to do our predicted 11 and our score predictions. Let's jump straight into it. So thanks for tuning in as always, guys. If you are new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button as well. It helps out the channel an awful lot. But we're going to jump straight into it, guys, and we're going to talk about Manchester United and our current run of form at the moment. And, you know, are we in a relegation battle? That is the question. Look, I mean, the league table would suggest yes, we are. More realistically, I don't think we are. I mean, when you look at Everton, for example, who are just below us, they're 5 points behind us. They absolutely are in a relegation battle. Of course they are. So does that mean we're not? I mean, look, I think there are worse teams, and I think United will eventually turn things around. However, over the next couple of games, we've got two really difficult oppositions in the Premier League, in Newcastle and in Liverpool. And of course, then we've got Arsenal as well in the FA Cup. So the opposition is getting more and more difficult as the weeks go on. It has to turn around eventually. And, you know, Ruben Amorim spoke quite in depth about, you know, the fact that it is going to get worse before it gets better and there is a storm coming. And while I do agree with him and, you know, it is probably going to get worse over the next couple of weeks, we've got to pick up points. If Ruben Amorim is in this position in 14th in the Premier League table at the end of the season, I think Ineos would struggle to keep him, to be quite honest with you. They seem a bit trigger happy, to be quite honest with you. Now, they kept their cool with Erik ten Hag. I think the FA Cup maybe gave him the breathing space that he needed at the time, but we seen with Dan Ashworth that they moved him on after 5 months, after courting him for, you know, the best part of a year nearly. So look, we've got to pick up points. Over the next couple of games is going to be very difficult, but I think if we are talking about picking up points in the next couple of games in the Premier League, Newcastle is probably the area that we have to be able to do that. It's at home. And we'll get into Newcastle in a few minutes as well, but they're coming into some really good form the last couple of weeks as well, so it's not going to be easy. It really, really isn't going to be easy. Now, we're talking about having two very important players missing for the game against Newcastle, and that, of course, is Bruno Fernandez and Manuel Ugarte. For different reasons, obviously. Well, they're both suspended, but for different kinds of suspensions. Obviously, Bruno Fernandez finds himself out now with a suspension, another red card. He's got 3 red cards this season. Obviously, one of them was overturned. However, he's found himself out of form. I would go back as far as saying, you know, we haven't seen the best of Bruno Fernandes since Erik ten Hag came in. We know under Solskjaer that it was very free-flowing football, and Bruno Fernandes kind of got a free role, and it wasn't a really structured formation and so on and so forth. And I think Bruno revels under that kind of football, where he can find himself at left back, he can find himself on the right wing, up front, midfield, wherever the case may be. And I think that the freedom of the park like that allowed him to go and create, score goals, get assists. However, with Ten Hag, and I think Ruben Amorim in a way is quite similar, it's very structured. You play a certain way, you play a certain position, and you play that role consistently. And I think Bruno Fernandes has found himself out of form an awful lot because of that, and because of maybe the restrictions that are being put on him. Look, there's been a lot of talk, you know, from certain parts of the fan base about moving Bruno Fernandes on, and I done a keep and sell a couple of days ago, and if a gun was put to my head and I could get rid of Bruno Fernandes and bring in somebody else instead of him with the money we could make, I probably would do it. However, I don't think Bruno Fernandes will be sold by Manchester United. He's a captain of the club, and he's got a contract there, and look, I think with the changes that are coming under Ruben Amorim, I think in time Bruno Fernandes will have a big part to play, but look, it's going to be difficult for Bruno Fernandes over the next few months, like every other player, to fit into these new tactics and new formations. But I don't think anybody should be outside the realms of criticism, and even outside the realms of maybe potentially being moved on, and that includes the captain of the club. Absolutely. Manuel Ugarte, on the other hand, guys, has been fantastic this season for us. You know, you can see why Ruben Amorim loves him so much and why he had him at Sporting and he made his name there. The ground he covers, the duels he wins, the tackles he puts in. And when he's in possession as well, which I'm surprised with, he's very neat and tidy. He doesn't give the ball away an awful lot. He's going to be a massive miss to us on the weekend. He really, really is. So, look, we're talking about missing two very, very key players in a key area of the field. Both of them were playing in the 6, not the game gone, the game before. So I think it's going to be. Look, it's absolutely a disadvantage to United to have both of these players missing on the weekend. But look, I mean, we've got to move on and we've got to deal with it, and that's why you've got a squad and you've got to bring players in to be able to match the players that are coming out. Now, let's get into our predicted 11. And look, obviously, we're talking here about maybe not an awful lot of changes. I mean, maybe some forced changes, I would say, more than anything else. This is the team that started against... Who did we play last? I don't even remember. We lose so many games. Wolves. This is the team that started against Wolves. And look... On paper, it's a very strong team. It has to be said. Now, look, obviously, I want to focus a little bit on this guy more than anything else before we get into where we're going. It's a key area for United, and he's come under criticism the last couple of weeks. 3 games in a row now, he's made a mistake that's pretty much cost a goal, and we conceded directly from a corner again on the weekend. Obviously, the first one was Binder, but again, this was Andre Onana. Can we just stop this messing around now and let's get back to the kind of goalkeeping we know he can, or the goalkeeper we know he can be. He's a very good goalkeeper. Can we just cut out the messing? Can we cut out the theatrics? Can we just, for corners and set pieces, can we just go man for man? And can we put people on the post as well, please? I know the modern game has moved on and, there's a lot of, zonal marking and all this, but sometimes the basics need to be kept. Put 2 men on the post. Go man for man in the box, height for height. Don't let your, the opposition player gain an advantage on you. I think sometimes tactics are overcomplicated in certain areas. So, look, with the goalkeeper and the back 3, I want to get back to seeing some just proper... defending, because up until a couple of weeks ago, the defence was the shining light in our season so far. We were struggling to score goals, but defensively we've been really good. So, look, obviously Onana is going to start again. There's no issues there. Now, the back 3, I'm going to start with Maguire in the middle. I think he's been playing quite well the last couple of games. Far as I can't put any criticism on him. I have to say, I think he's been really good for us. Does he keep his place? I think maybe he does. And I think the back 3, I'm going to move it on to Yoro. I think maybe Yoro will probably drop out for this game. And not because he done anything wrong. I said it in the match reaction after the game against Wolves that I thought he played quite well. He's a young kid. He's coming back from an injury. I don't want him playing every game. Okay, I don't want him playing every game. We talk about Garnacho being overplayed because he's a young player. Kobbie Mainoo being overplayed because he's a young player. We've got a back line now, especially with Harry Maguire coming into a little bit of form in this back 3, where we can move Lenny Yoro out. And we know De Ligt is available again. I think De Ligt maybe comes back in. And plays on the right side of the back 3 again. It was a couple of games ago that he done it, and I thought that back 3 done quite well. Look, Lisandro Martinez hasn't been playing as good as we know he can over the last few games. He's coming back from injury as well, and this season hasn't been great for him. And I'm seeing a lot of nonsense online about people saying we should move him on. I mean, players can't have a dip nowadays without a certain part of the fan base, saying that he needs to be sold and so on and so forth. It's nonsense. Martinez, in my opinion, you play him and you let him play his way out of this dip. So I think that should be the back 3 in my opinion. Now, getting on to the wing backs. The wing-backs, I think, are pretty much set in stone, to be quite honest with you. We're desperately in need of a left wing-back. I don't think Delo has been playing quite well, and there has been times where he's been taken out and Malacia has come in. And look, while Malacia will give you 100% and he always works hard and gives everything for the team, I don't think the quality is there. And we're seeing an awful lot of reports over the last few weeks suggesting that Manchester United are going to go heavy in the January transfer window for a left back. So I think for that reason alone, look, I think it's going to be Delors for the foreseeable, absolutely. And Mazraoui on the far side, he's been a shining light for us again this season. He really has. He's been him, Ahmad and Onana up to a few weeks ago, and Ugarte as well have been absolutely fantastic. So I think he keeps his place. Now we get into midfield and we talk about the players that are missing. Obviously these were the 4, the 2 6s and the 2 10s. Ugarte, who's suspended due to yellow cards, is obviously going to come out. I think it's going to be a straight swap for Casemiro, to be quite honest with you. Again, look, I think Casemiro hasn't played poorly in the games that he's played for us, and we go back to Ruud van Nistelrooy as an interim. He played Casemiro and Ugarte as the 2 number 6s, and they worked really well together. Casemiro hasn't done anything wrong over the last few weeks. Look, it's quite clear that Ruben Amorim has gone with a certain 2 number 6s that he wants, and Casemiro's time at Manchester United is going to be short-lived, in my opinion. With Amorim coming in, it doesn't look like he's going to keep him around. And of course Ugarte is there. You know, we're talking about Ugarte as that defensive number 6 there, potentially Menu or Bruno Fernandez as the deep-lying playmaker. It is probably going to be the case where Casemiro finds himself out of the team more than not, but I think he plays this game, absolutely. Now, Bruno is going to be out, so what do we do in terms of a second number 10? Now, we know that, I think this is the most difficult one, to be quite honest with you. We know that he likes to have a creator in one of these number 10s, you know, on Bruno or Mason Mount. I haven't got a graphic for Mason Mount here, but he's been one of them number 10s as well, that likes to get on the ball and likes to create. With Bruno coming out, I think the most likely candidate to go in would be Alejandro Garnacho. He's had a couple of cameo appearances off the bench since he was dropped for the Manchester derby, and I think, look, he deserves to come back in. He deserves a chance to start again. Could there be a scenario where we play maybe another number 6 here and move Menu forward? I don't think so, to be quite honest with you. I've seen some chatter online where maybe Garnacho stays out, Menu moves here, Martinez comes into midfield, and then you put maybe Lenny Yoro on the left side. Again, look, I don't see Ruben Amorim doing that, to be quite honest with you. Look, we haven't seen Martinez play there, so I think most importantly, or most likely, it's going to be Garnacho to come in. He's played in that left number 10 role before, and we've seen before with when Garnacho has played there, when we are in possession, Garnacho tends to drift wide, and Delors comes into that number 10 to attack that inside channel, and then when we're out of possession, Delors just drops back, Garnacho comes in, we close off the middle. So I think that's more likely what the case is going to be. On the other side, Ahmad, again, I don't see any reason why Ahmad shouldn't play this game. He's been one of our best players this season. I think he keeps his place, and he plays absolutely 100%. The only issue there is that in transition defensively, you've got 2 very attacking players. Now, we know Ahmad has played as a wing back before, so defensively I think he's more capable, but we know Garnacho lacks some quality going back. So when you're playing 2 very attacking players going forward, absolutely, it's fantastic. You can have 2 players like this with Mazraoui getting forward, Delors getting forward. You know, that's, you know, quite an attacking 5 going forward with obviously Menu and Casemiro backing up. But defensively then, when you're looking at getting back, maybe Delors and Mazraoui getting back as a back 5, Casemiro and Menu here, Ahmad and Garnacho are going to have to be very, very, very structured in how they defend. And Garnacho specifically, he's got to get back in, he's got to defend them inside spaces if we're going to have any luck against Newcastle. So it's going to be a big ask, but I think that's more than likely what it's going to be. And up front then, look, it's Rasmus Højlund for me. Again, with 2 attacking players like that who like to get forward and like to overlap, I wouldn't be massively surprised if we see a Joshua Zirkzee come in who likes to drop into these channels to get on the ball with the 2 number 10s getting forward. That is absolutely an option there. However, I do think the more likely scenario in terms of actually trying to get goals, it's going to be Rasmus Højlund. So look, guys, that's going to be my starting 11. Again, let me know yours in the comment section below. If you've got any changes, if you would make any changes, do let me know in the comment section below. But I think that team is probably the strongest team that we can go out and put out against a difficult Newcastle side. Now, score predictions. Look, we know Newcastle are in good form at the moment, and, you know, especially we're talking about the likes of this guy, Isak. You know, Newcastle are finding a good bit of form the last couple of weeks, and it's not the best time to be playing them, I won't lie. I mean, I can't predict a United win. I just can't. I don't see where it's going to come from. And it's very rare that I say this on a match preview, because I always try and back Manchester United to go out and win a game, and I always will say that. I just don't see where the win is going to come. We're not scoring enough goals. We're conceding too many set pieces, particularly. We're not dominating games, and we're not doing it against lesser opposition. Wolves were in the relegation zone last week, and they easily beat us. You know, we're going up against a Newcastle side now who are currently sitting 5th in the league table. You know, if we look at it here, they're 5th in the league table. So I just don't see where the result is going to come from, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to go Newcastle to win 2-0. I think it's going to be another defeat for United, and I think the gravy train of negativity is going to continue, unfortunately. I can't see us picking up any points in the next 2 games, and I hate saying that. It's desperate to say that for look, I hope we do win. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope we go out and win and turn the tide, but I think it's going to be extremely difficult, to be quite honest with you. I really do. But let me know your score predictions, guys, in the comment section below. Are ye more optimistic or are ye not? Let me know in the comment section below. We will be live for the game on Monday night, so make sure you are tuning in on the YouTube channel for that as well. We'll be live from about 7:45, but keep an eye, turn on notifications, and you will get notified as soon as we go live. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new, on the road to 13,000 subscribers. Hit that like button as well for me. I do appreciate it. Hope you have a great weekend, and I hope to see you on Monday night. Take care.